everybody, this is a product review and short tutorial for the Nektar SE49 USB MIDI controller keyboard. This is a nice little unit. I wanted to go with something that wasn't a full-size keyboard, so I decided, I looked at the 25-note keyboard controllers out there and everything, and I thought that was too small. And then they had some just a little bit bigger, but I said, no, that's not quite right. So I just scaled back to a 49 key unit with this Nektar SE49, and I like it. It's pretty cool. Now, I can't get the full keyboard on camera without showing these controls because I'm still kind of far away, plus the primary control labeling is over here and our controls over here. On this side, you got 0 through 9 plus an enter key, which is the highest key on the keyboard. So that's the only thing you're really missing. And I can bring up a couple photos of it so that you can see what the whole keyboard looks like. But this is a nice keyboard. It's not real complicated, so you shouldn't have a lot of problems with it. It gives you just enough to do what you need to do as far as basically just playing keyboard. It's not a controller with sliders and dials and knobs and input pads on it that you can drum on. It's strictly basically for playing the keyboard, and that simplicity is what I was after. Plus, slightly smaller size makes it nice. But now Nektar does make the SE49 and the 61, because actually when you look at the owner's manual is for the 49 and the 61. So it's the same unit, just that the Nektar SE61 is just a little bit longer because it has 61 keys. Hence the model number 61, and the SE49, which is what you're looking at, has 49 keys on it. But it fits the space just right without being too big, and you also get a decent spread as far as your octaves go. Now, if you're a player who really utilizes the entire keyboard, this might be a little small for you. But we'll go over the octave and transpose buttons, which makes it nice because it's got a kind of nifty built-in features with that. So let's just go ahead and I'll show you the layout. Now, like I said, the numbers are over here, and then the top key is considered the enter key. Over here we have, right here in this section, you might be able to see that white line. This is our transpose buttons, and we got transpose, MIDI channel, program, track, and patch. So you can actually do some fancier DAW type work with this keyboard, and I'll show you how to do a couple things with it as far as entering beta information, because it doesn't have a display screen on it. But that's okay, because we basically just want to use this as a controller keyboard. We're not trying to get into DAW control in depth. Nektar does make a lot of keyboard controllers that do have all kinds of inputs on them and control features that you can set up and program any kind of way you want. But this simplicity is what we're after. So let's keep looking. We got a panic button right here. And there's everything on here as far as, if I say button, I'm talking about the keys, because there are no buttons except for over here. But you do have a panic key. And then you have velocity curve, octave key, transpose key, bank MSB, and bank LSB if you want to set up particular patch numbers using the keyboard. You can do that from the front of the unit. And it has a program key here, and then it has a MIDI global channel key here, and then it has a control assignment here, and then a cancel key here, so that you can input things and you can also cancel them. And as far as our controls over here, these two lower buttons are transpose down, transpose up. They can also be used for your fast forward and rewind buttons, or skip ahead, skip back function as well. The two top buttons are the octave buttons. So you got octave down and octave up. Then we have a slider over here. Right now the slider is set for MIDI volume. If I slide it all the way down, no MIDI. So you'll hear no sound from your DAW. Slide all the way up, maximum. This Nektar, one of the things I like about it too, it's got a modulation wheel and pitch bend, and they have a nice feel. Sometimes with keyboards, sometimes the modulation wheel, of course it's up to the designer, but the design on these is nice. It's got just a hint of a almost fluid feel to it, just a tiny bit of resistance, so it works nice. It's not too loose, because some modulation wheels, they have a very loose quality to them, but this one has just a little bit of resistance, so it works. It's got a nice feel to it, and it stays where you put it, no problem. Same thing with the pitch bend. Pitch bend is spring action. These are like a rubber coating on these here and the volume knob, so grip is nice. You can hit it and grip it real easy, and that's nice. The keys themselves, these are synth-weighted keys, so it's just a spring action, but it has a nice action. It's not too sharp of a pushback, and it's not too hard to push down, but you still have just enough resistance so that you can get a little bit of that piano type action, even though they're not fully weighted or semi-weighted keys. But they feel good. They feel good. Now, needless to say, you have a little key sound there, but it's not annoying. It's not like it's loud or clacky. And since we don't have any music playing right now, you do hear any sound that you would get from anything, basically, because it's just being mic'd. Once the music starts, you're playing notes, you're not going to notice that at all because you're listening to the music. But still, nice keyboard, good feel, good layout. I love the red. You can really only see the red if you're looking at the back of the unit. As a matter of fact, let's see. I'll just tilt it up. I'll pick it up here. And then you got some on, and it's on the sides as well. So you get a nice, it's just a nice, smooth looking, pretty keyboard. It just looks nice. Now, as you can see, I got a cable here and a cable here. Here's the USB cable. Here is the foot pedal switch, because if I turn this, I got it upside down, but there's the USB, and this is our sustain switch plugged in here. And then we have a power switch down here. Now, it's a USB powered device, but there's still an on and off switch here. And it's kind of interesting because the thing about this is, which probably comes in handy, now I got to get it lined up again, but that switch comes in handy because I've got it plugged in right now. And I said, let me see if this thing, let me plug it in and see how it works. When you plug it in with the switch off, you can have the USB plugged in, but it will not be recognized by the keyboard, by the computer, until you turn the switch on. But that's kind of neat because you're actually saving on power resources. Let's say you don't have the biggest power supply, or you're using a laptop on a battery. If you're not using the device at the moment, you can't just hit the switch and turn it off. And you'll save a little that voltage, because USB inputs only do, I think, 5 volts. So you can save a little juice there. But it's a nice feature. But as soon as you switch it on, you'll hear that little Windows doot-doot-doot, and you know it's on and ready to go. So you do have a switch on the back, so if you plug it in, don't forget to flip that switch, or you'll be saying, hey, this thing doesn't work. Yeah, it works. You just got to make sure you plug it in to the USB, and then you power it up whenever you're ready. Okay, let's power the device on. There it is. Now the unit is recognized. Even though you can't see my doll on screen, it popped up and indicated that a new MIDI device had been plugged into it, and it's ready to go. Now, something else I want to make mention of with the Nektar SE49. This unit is MIDI plug and play. As soon as you plug it in and I hit the switch, it automatically loads a standard MIDI controller, USB driver for it in the Windows software. There's no software to really set this up with as far as if just general use. Now, Nektar does have some software that you can download for specific applications with the unit if you want to do some special programming. And it also comes with a free DAW application from Bitwig. It's an 8-track MIDI sequencing software package from Bitwig, and you download that from the Nektar website. And you register your software and your unit, and you get the Bitwig software for free. So that's a nice little plus, just in case you're just starting into getting into a MIDI, or you just want to get a different kind of DAW because the one you're using may not be quite what you want, or you just want to just browse and experiment with some new equipment. As far as software goes, the Bitwig is there for free. It's part of the package when you get the Nektar SE49 and also with the Nektar SE61. My DAW software is up. It's off screen, but obviously you can hear it's there. So let's take a look at the controls over here for a minute. Let's take a listen to that modulation wheel. Modulation gives you nice modulation. There it is, and it works real nice. Once again, it's got that rubber on it, plus that nice little finger indent that's just perfect. And then you get the nice action. So you get nice bender action off of it too. So I think you're gonna like that. Just remember your modulation. You might want to visually have them equal with the intents here. But if you do that, you're gonna get that modulation in. So just keep your modulation wheel all the way down, unless you just want everything to have modulation on it. All right, slider. MIDI volume control right there. Right out of the factory, set to go. So that makes it nice. All right, now let's take a look at these buttons over here to control our octaves and our transpose. Let's start at the top, octave. Octave down 1, 2, 3 octaves down. So we can go 3 octaves down. Now, if we want to come back up, we just use our octave up key on the right. And when you notice with the octave keys, once you leave the middle range, the light comes on. Because if I come over here, now we're back into the center position. It's 0. Both of these together, and it centers it back automatically. 1 up, 2 octave up, 3 octave up, 4 octave up. So we can go 3 octaves down and 4 octaves up, which is nice. And then just hit both to recenter it. So that makes it nice. Now, let's check out the transpose buttons, of course. We're going down in semitones, 1 note at a time, so that's center. If I come down 1, if I hit both, it zeroes out just like the octaves and takes you back to the pre-programmed center of the keyboard octave range. hit them again, and we're back into the middle. Transpose keys are always nice to have, because if you were playing with somebody and technically the song is here, this is the key for the song, which if I remember correctly is middle C. If this is middle C, and you say, okay, we're going to play such and such song, what key is that in? It's in middle C. But you got, say, a singer, and they say, what? They say, well, I actually play that. I actually sing that song. I don't sing middle C. I sing it in, say, well, that's C, D, E. Let's say they sing it in F, which is here. Well, if you're not a hot player like me, trying to transpose in your mind to do that is a little difficult. For seasoned players, they can simply just say, oh, you play that and what is that, C, D, E, F. You sing that in F, no problem. They'll just automatically make the switch and just jam along. They say, oh, well, it's easy. Well, it's easy for you because you're a trained piano player. But for us rookies, novices, and just folks who just love the gear, that's a little bit of a stretch. But so C, D, E, F, and I'm right here, and I'm used to starting at C. There we go. Now I'm transposed. I'm transposed up, and I can play as if I'm still playing that song in C, and it accommodates the singer at the same time. Hit both buttons, and I'm right back down to the middle C again. So that's nice. So just a handy little feature. And of course you got your octave keys. Now, let's take a look at a couple control things here. Number one, let me get my foot pedal. Yeah, bring that around. Check this out. Okay, foot pedal's active right now. Okay, what if I go up an octave? Let me stop it. I'm gonna go. You notice something here? Watch. Let me do it again. I'll hold down the foot pedal. If I move the octave up, it doesn't change. That note rides out in that octave range. That's important because if you bought this Nektar SE49 keyboard for yourself or for anybody else as a gift, and they're a big player, they really stride around, and I've seen some people do that. They really they really play the full width of a keyboard like it's nothing to it. If you happen to be one of those people and you're playing, but you need to, and you're here, but you need to take it up an octave, you can do it. You notice there's no drop off. No raising up or down. So you can be holding down a chord over here, or with this hand, do an octave switch, and then come up with it. Real easy, because some people are really gifted players, and they can really move around, and they might say, this keyboard's a little small. And then you just let them know the octaves, you can change octaves. If you're playing up here for a little bit, change the octave again so that you can get those lower keys or upper keys with ease. So it's just a matter of getting used to playing like that if you need to do it like that in a situation where you only have 49 keys to work with. Because you just might be traveling. You might be doing a little gig somewhere or something like that, or just playing with friends. And you need to make that little octave switch. You can do it. And you can have a sustain pedal down, or you can be holding the keys, the notes. and go up and down all you want. Now, let's see if it does the same thing with the transpose. Let's see if that changes. Whatever you hold down, whatever notes are held down, finish out at that octave range, which is nice. That's a good feature to have in this keyboard. All right, since this is a controller, we might as well just go ahead and switch off and go into my DAW, and we'll take a look at a couple simple things, just a few things. But let me switch it up. Okay, we are now inside of my DAW. And we're on a piano, acoustic piano, channel 1. Now, check this out. When you go into your MIDI settings, right now this is set for all input devices, which works just fine. But we can see the SE49 is right there. So if I click on that, and I'll disarm the track, we got that one set. So that's channel 1. Down here on channel 2, I've got a synth sound. So I'm going to set that for the SE49. And I got that. That is now set for MIDI channel 2. I'll disarm that. But notice, now I'm hitting the key. You can't see it, but you can probably hear me. Pressing down the key. Nothing there. Now here's channel 10. We're going to go to the SE49 for that one. Now, since I've got this set for MIDI channel 1, I can play MIDI channel 1 and jam along and no problem. But what if I want to come down here to MIDI channel 2? What do? Very simple. The controls on the front of the SE49 will let us take care of that. To make that change to another MIDI channel is real simple. I just use the transpose up, octave up buttons because it says right here, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a bracket and it says setup. Hit both of those buttons together. See the flashing light? We are now in setup mode. All I have to do now is just come over here, MIDI global channel. Hold down the MIDI global channel. Pick number 2 on the keyboard. It's off camera, but it's there. I just hit MIDI channel 2 key. And then I come over to the N key, hit enter. Notice the light stop flashing and I can let go of the keyboard. Now, when I go back into my DAW, MIDI channel 1, nothing. MIDI channel 2, there's our synthesizer. It's just that easy to change channels. It's just that easy to change the channels. Want to do it again? Let's set it for the drums, because you can see it's not working on the drums. So, MIDI channel 10, no problem. Setup buttons, hit them both. It's flashing. MIDI global channel, hold it down. 1, 0, enter. It stopped flashing. Didn't even have to bring the DAW up, because you can hear it. Want to go back to the piano? No problem. Setup. MIDI channel. 1. Enter. Go back into my DAW. let's say I went into the Octave setup mode, and then I say, well, wait, what am I setting that up for? I don't need to do that. There is a cancel button on here. You got a cancel button here. You hit it, you notice the lights go off. If I go into this mode and I'm doing something, I say, well, I don't need to do that. There's a panic button too. The panic button kills it. But I'm still in my sequencer. Sound on channel 2. So you do have that option there too. So that's nice. So you got a cancel button here to cancel anything that you were doing. And then you got and the panic button's right here. So you can see what you're doing right there. And remember, your enter key's all the way up on the top, and your number keys are over here. Because you can actually see 0, 1, 2 over here on camera just a little bit. But those are some of the neat things. Now, you do have some other things on here where you can set some transpositions and some velocity curves and things like that. But I think you get the basic understanding of what this keyboard can do. And it has enough features to get the job done. Oh, there's something else I want to make mention of too. I was talking about the keyboard, but you might have picked up on it and you might not. The nuance or sensitivity of the keyboard. So let me go back to piano. Hold down the MIDI, set up keys, MIDI global channel, number 1, enter, there. Okay, we're back into our piano. Notice the velocity. Let me hit my foot switch. Never hit a bad chord with the foot switch on. Sustain always sounds terrible when you go. It just don't work. Sometimes keys work like that, but you never want to. It always sounds bad with the sustain pedal. But the sensitivity on this is spot on. So you can't go wrong with that. And that's what makes this unit nice. They thought about it, they put it together, tested it, and then they wrote the book for it. They give you a nice little manual, because it comes with a manual. Here's the SE manual. Nice color. You can see that red on it. I love that red on there with that black is beautiful. But you got a nice little manual. It's only 12 pages. I know it's kind of hard to see because of the glare. But Nektar wrote a manual for this keyboard. It works great. It's got that nice little subtlety to it, to the keys. And you can go and set velocity curves if you want to. So, decent little features up here. Clearly marked on the edge over here. And then you got your numeric settings over here for the keys. Enter key on top. Everything on this just works right out of the box. Nothing fancy to set up. You can actually reset this unit to the factory specifications too. What it is, you just basically you turn the unit off and you'd hold down the 2 octave keys. Turn the unit back on because you got your switch back there. Hold these 2 buttons down, turn the unit back on, and it'll totally reset. So you can't mess it up or have to go through a whole lot of combobulations to try to get it back to factory standard. But super nice, simple, easy, straightforward unit for someone who doesn't need to get all technical. You're not trying to control your DAW right from the front of your keyboard, because some people like to do that. That's why they started putting all those sliders and the little drum input pads and knobs control different features on keyboards. They get much deeper, and they can be 49. They can be 25 key. I think there's like a 32 key or 35 key, 37. Then you go 49. I think it's 37, 25, 37, 49, and 61. So you got keyboards that come in all different sizes as far as controllers. But this Nektar, they kept it to the basics, the meat and potatoes, and I like it. It feels great. The keys have a nice feel to them. They're not super slick or shiny. And your black keys are squared off just right so your hands don't slide off too easy. They thought this keyboard out, and it shows. The Nektar SE49, or if you get the 61, which is the same model, just 61 keys instead of 49. But this Nektar SE49, 5 stars. I like it. It's a nice unit, and it's relatively inexpensive. It is definitely in the price range that you should be able to afford without any problems, and you're going to get a great unit. If you just want a MIDI keyboard controller, this will get the job done for you. As a matter of fact, let's do one more test. I'm going to turn it off. You heard the little doo-doo-doo. Now I'm going to hold down the buttons. My Mixcraft just popped up. My DAW software just popped up to let me know there was a change. I'm going to hold down both Octave buttons and totally reset it. There. I don't know if you saw it with my hands. My fingers over there in the way. But both of these lights flashed twice each, back and forth, doo-doo-doo-doo. And then, now it's totally reset. So, let's try something out here. I'm going to do something here. All right, we're back into my DAW. I'm just checking something out here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to check the properties. I already set this one for all MIDI inputs. Yep, I get it for all MIDI devices inputs. Now, I'm going to go up here to the synth. I got that for all MIDI devices set. Disarm that one. And this one, the top one, channel 1, all MIDI. That's set for all as well. Disarm it. Now, I totally reset it, so we didn't even have any MIDI channels designated to be the master MIDI channel like we did earlier with the demonstration. This is just way it would be generic, right out of the box, set up, because we did a factory reset just a minute ago. And so, and this makes it nice if you want to do your recording. Because, as most of you know, if you as most of you know, you can set your DAW up any kind of way you want. This is generically just setting it up, and it's just switching, and just by jumping from track to track, you can see everything stays on its own separate MIDI track. So, let's see. Channel 1, that's channel 1. Channel 2. Channel 3. So you don't even have to go in and do like I did. I just did it for demonstration to show you that you can set MIDI channels for this. Because if you're doing something a little more dedicated or you got a lot of instruments hooked up, selecting MIDI tracks and dedicating MIDI tracks is a must. So you don't have everything come up all on one track and everything sounds all mashed together and terrible. So now, I just slid those all back. Everything is just automatically on separate tracks and separate channels because we recorded everything that way from the get-go. So just another option that you get using the Nektar SE49 keyboard. You can do it the way you want to. And that's what you're after. All right. So, once again, this is a 5-star unit. This is a nice unit. They thought it out. They made it look nice, nice rounded edges, the two-tone red and black, simple inputs on the back, including that USB on there, which is simple USB-B to USB-A, although it does come with its own USB cable. But if you want to go with a longer USB cable, no problem. You can get yourself like a 10, 15 footer, plug into this unit, just in case your equipment's across the room a little bit. You won't have any problems. This is a 5-star unit in my book, the Nektar SE49. If you're looking for an inexpensive but quality unit, this is it. Nektar SE49, and also its big brother, the SE61 from Nektar. See you next time.